Ayo, this is T.O.T. Thank you for dropping in today, if you have. The 3.1 Apocalyptic Shadow is a very interesting one, to say the least. Unlike all the previous ones that we've gotten in the past, this particular one is going to heal our party in full whenever we completely break the boss's toughness bar. I think this is very interesting because this makes it very comfortable to be able to run no sustain on either side. Now granted, players who've used one Von Whack or with DDD, for example, they may have been able to do no sustain runs as well, but for a player like myself, it has never been accessible as an option in Apocalyptic Shadow until now. I suspect a decent number of players may also try to not run a sustain as well, and it's a nice change of pace, very interesting. One thing that I will also be doing moving forward is as we get these updates and the in-game modes, I will be uploading my clear so that way if anyone needs any help, they can ask questions and I will try to help out as best I can. I'm still going to be doing the throwback videos with clears that I've done in the past for prior patches, so those will not be going away. Back in the early days of Honkai Star Rail, I was under the belief that a limited sustain character only needed to do their core job, which was to sustain. Anything beyond that was completely and totally unnecessary. Now, as the game has progressed, my thought process has actually changed on this, and I think the release of Linksha was what really changed things for me when I found out how much personal damage that she could do on her own when she's in the right environment. I then realized at that particular point in time that sustains have it rougher in Honkai Star Rail than any other archetype of character in the game, and there's two particular reasons for this. The first is that there's this spoken/unspoken rule of get 2 limited characters that are sustains and you should be good. You don't need to pull for a 3rd or a 4th or anything along those lines, and honestly I completely agree with this sentiment 100%. Beyond that, a sustain has to be so appealing that a player is willing to forego an opportunity cost of getting another DPS, another Harmony character, or another Nihility character. The rule of 2 does not apply to DPSs, Harmony characters, or even Nihility characters, but it does apply to limited sustains. And quite frankly, so far, every limited sustain character in one way or another has provided something additional beyond them just keeping your party alive. Loja with its SP generation, Ho-Ho with her energy that she provides to the team, Linksha with her personal damage, Aventurine with its follow-up attacks, Fu Xuan with her crit rate buff that she provides to the party, and I'm sure we're going to get more examples of additional utility with future abundance or preservation characters. In my opinion, the saving grace for these preservation and abundance characters is the fact that most of them do not need their signature light cone. The one character that I could probably make an argument for would be Fu Xuan, but this is just based on the premise of how Fu Xuan's kit works just in general. Even then, Fu Xuan is the exception, she's definitely not the norm. For our preservation characters, obviously Japard's light cone is really good, and if a player doesn't want to use that, they could also go with Trent of the Universal Market if they are running a team with Acheron. On the abundance side, we have plenty of 4-star options that are really good. Post Ops is really good, as well as the light cone that has Loja's image on it. This is one that increases the effect res, and then based off of that increases the outgoing healing to a certain extent. Currently, in the game's climate, having 2 sustains and limited sustains, leaving it at that sounds like a really good idea. I suspect at some point in the future, MiHoYo will likely release new enemies that are mechanically wired to where our current sustains just will not be able to deal with. And I suspect at that point in time, MiHoYo will release a new sustain that will be able to properly deal with the enemy properly. I think that's really the only way I could see individuals breaking this 2 limited sustain, spoken/unspoken metric or mindset that has been placed. I don't know when MiHoYo will probably do something like this, but I can see it definitely happening at some point in the future. As I was doing the Fei Xiao sustainless run for the Aventurine half, one thing that I reminded myself of is Fei Xiao's traditional team doesn't exactly have defense down sources, as far as I'm aware anyways, other than if you were to have Fei Xiao's signature light cone in itself. So then I was thinking about it, I was like, well, if ever the time comes to where Fei Xiao could have her signature light cone, which ignores up to 54% of the target's defense, I believe, on top of a defense reduction source, whether it be a Pela or a Silverwolf, for example, I would suspect Fei Xiao should be able to do some pretty nasty ultimate damage. And yeah, I'm still highly unlikely going to ever pull for Fei Xiao's signature light cone just because Fei Xiao is Hunt, but it is some food for thought that came to my own mind.
This combat meat? This is double speed. Need a shot. Crush them!
I venture forth forever. Triumphant! Victory is inevitable! I venture forth forever. Triumphant! Victory is inevitable!
Alright, for the second side, I decided to go with Blade, Jade, Tribby, and Runmei. So, once again, exploiting the HP restore mechanic for this particular Apoc Shadow, and I have Runmei here for two particular reasons. The first one is she is going to be able to delay the break status of these targets, which will allow me to have more time to take out the overall toughness meter bar down more. And then on top of that, Runmei also is going to be buffing my Blade and Jade. Even though Jade scales off attack and Blade scales off HP, it won't matter. Similar context as with Tribby. Finally, because the TV Dino boss does have an AoE attack that will slow my characters, Runmei's 10% speed buff should help counter out that debuff since we don't have a cleanser in this party. Other than that, pretty straightforward run. This is not an optimal team for this, but if you have a highly invested enough Blade X Jade combo, this should be an option. Obviously, there are better options like Herta, Acheron, a well-invested Serval, probably Rappa as well. And I know I'm missing a whole lot of other examples, but those are the main ones that I can think of off the top of my head. I love this comp a lot, and me seeing the performance of this just reinforces that I really should go for Runmei's signature light cone when it comes around again. I don't know if I'll ever get E1 for Runmei. That's gonna, even if I do decide, that's gonna be definitely a back burner Eidolon. Her signature light cone definitely is taking priority in my mind for Runmei specifically. I'm gonna let the rest of this play out. If you've taken out the time to watch this or listen to this, just want to say thank you for your time. You be safe out there. Deuces.
There's no backing out now. For me or you. Who's the backstabber?
You paid me.
Eternal. Every petal, all will be swept away by the wind.
A blade knows no mercy. Fail to stand you.
Some value, I suppose. There's some wisdom. Don't let me down.
Fight is ready.
Bending the rules. There's more to life.
Fail to stand you. Savor it for me.
Time for a lesson.
Fail to stand you.
Bending the rules. Every petal, all will be swept away by the wind. Eternal. Much closer.
I will dispatch you. Fail to stand you.
Time for a lesson. There's no backing out now. For me or you. Who's the backstabber? Grace and elegance. won't be swept away by the wind.
The paradise, savor it for me. Fail to send you.
It's coming. Some value as Live some, win some. Don't let me down.
Your end approaches.
Bending the rules. Existence is unity.
Fail to send you.
Time for a lesson. There's more to like.
A blade knows no mercy.
Bending the rules. We? There's no backing out now. For me or you.